Hello and welcome. This is Cheryl. Thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to create a watercolor Wagon of Spring Flowers card. This is using the In Full Bloom stamp set from Pajama Crafter stamps. Now, I haven't used this set before, so I'm going to do the thing that I do anytime I open a new clear stamp set is I use a white eraser on the stamping surface. It just removes any possible manufacturing residue and lets that stamp take ink just a little bit better. I do it to the entire set, so I know if I've used one stamp in a set, I know it's done. Now, because I'm watercoloring my images here, I'm going to use some watercolor cardstock. I'm using the Distress watercolor cardstock. Whatever your favorite watercolor cardstock will work. I like the Distress because it's nice and bright white. And I'm going to position my stamps on top of my watercolor cardstock in my Misti stamping tool so that I can stamp the image multiple times. Now, watercolor cardstock has a more textured side and a smoother side, and I typically will work on the smoother of the two sides. I also use a little bit of embossing powder tool on my cardstock before stamping with the VersaMark ink. That way, when I pour my gold embossing powder on top of it, it's going to help it to stick more to the VersaMark ink than possible oils or anything that I might have gotten onto the cardstock. So it just helps get a clearer image. If there's any pieces of embossing powder stuck to any part of that image that you don't want it to, you can use your fingers if it's away from the image, or a soft small brush to remove those pieces before you heat emboss them. So once you heat emboss them, that melts that powder. It turns from a matte granular look to a nice glossy gold line. I typically like to emboss when I'm watercoloring because it just makes the watercolor happen so much easier. I don't have to wait for certain areas to dry before watercoloring beside it. It gives a little bit of a ridged edge around the image, so it makes it really easy, as well as the fact that because I'm using gold embossing powder for this, it gives it a beautiful metallic line to it, and I think it just elevates the image a little bit. I'm going to start with the background for this image. So I'm using Salty Ocean. I'm using Distress watercolor pencils for some of the parts of the image, and then I'm going to use some interference ink so that I can use the shimmery, or can add the shimmery effects that the interference inks give. So Salty Ocean is in the set 1 of Distress watercolor pencils. All of the colors that I'm using today for the watercolor pencils are from set 1. I love the sets because you get 12 different colors within that same set. It gives you a lot of different variety, and they're a nice, neat way of watercoloring. I have a water brush here that has water right in the handle, so I have a little piece of paper towel to my right so that I can easily and quickly clean off my brushes between colors. The other thing is, if I happen to have too much color, I can just wipe it on that paper towel to remove some of the color. It just makes it really quick and easy. I tend to be a bit of a klutz, so to have a brush that I have to dip into water and have an open bottle or an open jar of water on my desk, there's a good chance that I would tip it over. So this way I don't have to worry about that at all. It's nice and quick and clean, and I can just use that same brush for the whole image. So the second color I'm using here is Peeled Paint. Now you can see that I'm pulling the color right off the tip of the watercolor pencil. Another option would be to use that pencil to color in areas of the image and then rehydrate that pigment with your watercolor brush and spread that color out. For me, this is the easiest way to do it. I prefer it this way. I've tried it where I've colored on the image, but when you use the watercolor pencils, especially if it's a color that you haven't used before, it's really quite hard. So sometimes if you're pressing hard to get a lot of pigment in an area, you can get marks from that pencil. By doing it this way, I never have to worry about that. When I first use the watercolor pencil, I get a very light and watery version of that color, and as I keep using that color, I get a little bit more of the pigment each time. For the Wagon, I'm using the Walnut stain from this set. I also use that peeled paint for the leaves within the arrangement or within the florals there. I want to use the interference inks for the flowers as well as the butterfly, but for this particular image, I didn't want to use it for the greenery. I wanted to leave those with the watercolor pencils. Now, the watercolor pencils have pigment to them. They have a bit of a chalkier, a matte finish to them, so I think it's going to be a really nice contrast to the interference inks, as well as a nice contrast to the metallic lines around my image. Once I'm done with doing my Wagon, I'm going to go into some of those areas that I missed between the florals that should be that peeled paint color. While I was doing that Wagon, I realized that there's a couple areas that I missed. And then I'm going to use the black soot crayon to do the tire on my Wagon. Now, At the end of the video, I actually go back over the wagon as well as the tire and make them a little bit darker, because once I had finished my card, they felt just a little bit too light. I'm using 3 different interference pads here. This first one I'm using is called Pink Champagne. So it's a beautiful bright pink color, but the interference color is green. So when we tilt it in the light, we're going to get a subtle shimmer that's going to be green. Now, when you watercolor with interference inks, it makes the interference properties a lot more subtle, but you still get them in the areas where that watercolor is heavier, the color is heavier. If you were to ink blend with these inks, you get a lot more of that shimmer quality to them. So I love the fact that not only can these inks be used multiple different ways because they are water reactive, but it's a great way to just add a little bit of a different texture for watercoloring. And like I said, the watercolor, the shimmer for the watercolors are really quite subtle. It's not in your face shimmer. If you wanted it to be more shimmery, you could use something like Perfect Pearls. They have a binding agent that's activated with water in them, and you can make a shimmer paint with that. You could also use a metallic watercolor paint if you want. The second color here that I'm using is Opal Blush. So that is a beautiful blue color, but the interference property to that is pink. If you've never used interference inks before, I have a whole playlist on my channel here that is all different videos that I've used the interference inks with. So there's many different ways to use them. I just love them. They're my favorite pads to work with because it's almost like a magic pad. They have a property that looks one color on light or white cardstock and a completely different color on black or dark cardstock. And it's really kind of like magic. But because they're water reactive, you can still watercolor with them. You can do like a distressed background with the interference inks, which is quite fun as well. For the third color I'm using is Lavender Fields. So this is a purple color, and then the interference shimmer is green as well. So when we're going to tilt that into the light, we'll see a tiny little bit of that shimmer. And the colors are really quite beautiful as well. If I weren't going to use the interference inks, you could use distress watercolor pencils for these, but then all of the watercolors are going to have about the same finish to them. Another option would be to use distress refills, which are refills to go to refill ink pads, the distressed ink pads. Those have a little bit more of a transparent look to them, so they're a little bit brighter and a little bit more transparent than the watercolor pencils. But really, there's no right or wrong. It's just personal preference. I always like to mix and match different things and find ways to add different textures to watercolors, because sometimes, especially if you're not going to emboss, sometimes it can end up looking a little bit flat. So the last thing that I added there was a bit of Stickles in the flower centers as well as the ridges of the butterfly wings. Stickles, or the one that I'm using, is just an opalescent glitter. It's transparent, so you're going to see the color underneath there, but it's just going to add a different texture. It's also going to add some sparkle to it. So I let my image piece dry for probably about a half an hour. I didn't use a ton of Stickles, so it didn't need a ton of drying time, and my watercolors were pretty much dry by the time I was done anyways. I trimmed that down to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, and then I took a piece of Hammermill cardstock and trimmed that down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I'm going to use the Opal Blush interference pad to color around the edges of that Hammermill cardstock. This is going to give me a matte for my card, and because I'm using that interference pad, it's going to match perfectly with the colors in, or the blue in my image there, and it's going to have that beautiful interference property. And you could see when I held it up close to the camera, that pink shimmer that image had. Now, when I laid that on the mat, I thought it needed a little bit of ink blending around the outside of my watercolored piece here, just to frame it in a little bit more and tie in that brown. However, I don't do this at all. I rarely ever ink blend around a watercolored piece. I learned something here. Now, you'll see this more at the end once my card is together, but there's little marks around the outside edge of my watercolored image when I did that ink blending with that walnut stain pad on it. And I thought maybe there was something on the paper before I used it that, like, it was defective from manufacturing. But after I had my card assembled and looked at it a little bit more, I realized that where that ink was a different color was where I had not put water on that cardstock when I was watercoloring my background. I watercolored that background so that it faded to nothing. And I typically go all the way to the edge of the cardstock. For this one, I didn't, because I didn't have any color left on my brush, so I didn't really feel it necessary. However, it did affect the way the ink blending looked around the outside edges. So you'll see that in a minute when I show you closer images of, or closer views of the card, and especially once it's finished. Here's the part where my card was assembled, but I thought that wagon just needed to be a little bit darker. So I added a little bit more of that Walnut Stain Distress watercolor pencil. And then I thought the tire needed to be a little bit darker, so I added a little bit more of the black soot to the tire. But here, when I bring it close to the camera, you can see those marks around the outside edges. Those are where the ink is taking, or the paper is taking the ink a little bit different because of areas where I didn't have water. I didn't put water on when I was putting, or when I was watercoloring my background. So I found that really, really interesting. And to be quite honest, I wasn't sure if there was a way to fix that at all. So I just left it as it is. Again, at first I thought it was a defect in the paper, but I know now that it's not. It's because the paper takes ink differently if you've had water on it or if it's not. And I thought I'd share that to you, or with you, because I found that fascinating and it was something that I didn't know. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me. I hope you have a fantastic day.